stand. So let the world stand up together, let's begin. Faith, hope, trust, and love. She's framing for God. Faith, hope, trust, and love. She's framing for God. Let's let the world know. She's framing for God. Let all the sisters say she's framing for God.
Hello everyone, Emma Kazi here. Welcome to Faming for God Talk Show. I'm coming to you from the Chicagoland area. I am so excited about this particular episode. But let me remind you, we love the God of the Old Testament. We love Jesus in the New Testament. We love living according to his principles in relationships and in life. So in this particular episode, we have three couples that are coming to the stage. And these three couples are single but dating in a holy and righteous way. These couples happen to be best friends with Casey Christensen. So Casey will be interviewing her friends today. Casey will be our host. I am so excited. But to set a foundation to the spirit of the show, let me read from 1 Peter chapter 1. It says 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 22. Now that you have purified yourselves by obeying the truth, so that you have sincere love for one another, love each other deeply from the heart. And I love this passage. I think it's a beautiful thing during COVID times to learn how to love differently when building relationships as single people. The question I want you to ask yourself, how do you love in your relationships? Are you seeking to be holy and righteous? Are you seeking the good of the other person? So when we watch this show today, let's listen, let's watch with our eyes, and let's hear with our hearts these young men and women determination to love each other deeply from the heart. At this time, I would like to give you Casey Christensen.
I'm so excited to be on Faming for God.
Right? It's gonna be great. Casey's the best.
She really is.
Hi, and welcome to Faming for God Talk Show.
Yes.
I'm so excited to have you both here. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us
Of
here.
course. Excited to be here.
Oh, I am so excited. I have so enjoyed watching your guys' dating relationship grow from a friendship to now dating. So I was just wondering if you could tell us that story.
Yeah.
Wanna go first?
Yeah, I can go. Okay, so we were on the mission team. We're actually on the mission team together, right? And we actually did a road trip here. And it's so interesting because the day that I drove in, I was in the car with Taylor. We drove into town and we passed the Chicago sign and I updated my Instagram story and my Facebook story. And I got a notification from Sam saying, "Welcome to Chicago." And he claims that he was just saying hi. In my mind, it was more. But yeah, that's basically how it kind of started. That's how, I noticed him and he made himself apparent to me. And then we, would see each other at services. He actually ended up asking me on a date at the winter workshop, but I was not available to go. So, we kind of kept in our minds that we wanted to go on a date with each other, and then it wasn't until maybe the following month we were able to go to the Valentine's Day dance, and I saw him there. We took a photo together, and then we were able to go on a date, and that was our first in-person date. And then right after that date was the pandemic. So the majority of our conversations were held over Zoom and over Facebook Messenger and text, and that was how our relationship began.
Yeah, and I think even to support that too, so my birthday's in February, and so they're in the UIC campus ministry, and we decided to have a little get together at the Giordano's. It's not too far, and I was thinking, man, I can invite them, have them come through and fellowship for a little bit, and she came by, and unfortunately they weren't able to stay. But she made me a card, and that was different because usually, you go on dates, like people buy cards, but no one really makes cards out here. So then I knew that from that gesture right there, I was like, something different about her. So that was something I really appreciated, and really just kept my eye on her. So
Oh, I love that. That is so sweet. Well, I want to ask, what attracted you to each other in the first place? Like,
I think for me is, I think the big thing was, how she took care of herself. I think that was like a huge thing, and she was, really huge advocate on self-care and like mental health, and those are the things that I'm really passionate about, and that's all she's really passionate about on her social media. So I think that was one of the main things that drew me to her for sure.
Yeah, I think what drew me to Sam was every time I saw him, he was always serving. Always doing something, running around, whether it was, setting up chairs with the ushers or doing something with the cyber ministry. And I was just like, wow, their brother is always serving. And so I kind of just noticed that about him. And he never complained. He never he was very reliable, and he never really dropped the ball and things. And so it was cool to see him just give his heart in that way. So.
oh, I love that. Spiritual things. You're attracted by spiritual things. Courtney, I did have a question for you. Have you ever dated somebody before? Is Sam your first boyfriend?
No, I've never dated anyone. Sam is my first boyfriend ever.
Oh my gosh, well, how was that experience?
It's been really cool. I think I'm very grateful that I was able to experience my first dating relationship within the protection of God's kingdom. And there's so much that we have to worry about as women, especially when dating. And it was just really cool to be able to just be pure in a relationship and have great, heartfelt conversation that comes from just pure godly motives. So that was really awesome.
Well, that is great. I wanted to ask about your guys' future too. Do you guys expect to continue to live behind a mask, or are you waiting to get vaccinated? Are you going on dates in person? What is that like? Because you started dating in the pandemic.
I think for me, and we've talked about it before, I think that's something we both expect to do is to get vaccinated. But we've done both virtual and in-person dates. So it kind of just depends on the situation. I actually had COVID at a period of time, and so we did virtual dates for a while, and I think that was really cool. And I think virtual dates really cause you to really get out of yourself and really force you to communicate. So I think that's a big thing that in a lot of relationships, I think we've both noticed is that it's not emphasis on communication. So I think that was what was really great about that.
Yeah, I agree. I think I enjoy in-person dates obviously so much more, but I'm really grateful that we were able to build a friendship during the pandemic, because we both just love to talk too, and we just love to have deep conversations, and we like to talk about everything and anything. And so it was cool being able to have those conversations, have the time to have those conversations, because I think COVID really opened up a door to be able to talk even more than usual, because everyone was just at home, So that was really cool.
That is great. Well, my last question is actually for Sam. I had a question for you. Is Courtney your ideal woman?
Ooh, that's a really great question. I think for me, probably. I think in a lot of ways, but I think also she's just so much more than the ideal woman that I had in my brain. I think for me, in a lot of ways, she fits the mold, but then she breaks it at the same time, because she's just so amazing. So I think in a lot of ways, just in her relationship with God, she just shines so brightly. So I think to answer your question, yes, and then also no, if that makes sense.
Oh, I love that. Well, I love getting to watch your relationship grow and just blossom. It's so much fun. I feel like you guys are just good for each other. But I love you so much, and I'm so grateful you guys got to come on the show today. Thank you.
Oh, we love you.
Love you, Casey. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you excited?
Yeah, Casey's gonna be interviewing us. I'm really excited to be on Family
You know,
for
it
God.
is a huge honor to be on
It
this.
really is.
Can't wait.
Welcome to Faming for God. I'm so excited to have you both
Thank you
here.
so much for having us.
Oh, well, I'm so excited for this episode because it's all about dating couples, and you guys actually started dating pre-pandemic, right?
Yeah.
When did you start dating? How did you meet? I want to hear the whole story.
Well, funny that you asked that. We actually met, I want to say 2018, right around this time of year. We just happened to be both going in Seattle, starting to really explore our faith more and more. And as we dove into it more, we happened to cross each other's paths here and there. And the event that actually got each other's attention was our baptisms. I ended up getting baptized on April 27th in 2018, and Sarah was there for it, you know, and it was something that really kind of inspired her too to really go after it. And it was after that that God really put us in a lot of situations where, you know, we were leading together, we were having fun together, and that's like kind of what built that foundation and that rock of the relationship.
Oh, and then you know, it was maybe 2000. It was like the fall of 2018 that I really started to take a notice of Russell. He you know, was leading. He was, you know, very powerful. He had a deep love for God and a desire to just do more for God's people. And I started to develop feelings for him, and not to mention the fact that we had class schedules that lined up really well together, and you know, and then we hung out with our friends a lot too. And I remember one specific event that really like sealed the deal for me, like wanting to date Russell, and it was we were going to Leavenworth, which is a very snowy place in the winter, and so it was the first time I was driving in snow, and I had a car full of people. And Russell was sitting behind me, and I actually start spinning out in the car, and everybody else is freaking out in the car and like panicking, but Russell was whispering behind me like, just stay calm, you can do this. And I was like, honestly, it helped us stay safe. He really helped to direct us back to, you know, safety, even just by coaching me in that way. So yeah, that was definitely the moment that I really wanted to date him.
Oh, I love that. That is so cool. So, you guys seem to have a lot in common. I know opposites attract, but it's really what we have in common that brings us together. Other than your class schedules, what do you guys both have in common?
I would say that something that we definitely have in common is obviously, you know, that same spirit and that same kind of focus when it comes to our faith, you know, that it's something we put so much effort, so much time into really driving. You know, because we really realize that, I mean, at the end of the day, what's the thing that matters most? A relationship with God. You know, that all these things that we have in life, they're amazing. They're awesome. But they still don't compare with God, right? And so if we can use our relationship even in a way that, you know, helps the other get closer to God, you know, that's something that I think is one of those similarities that really drives it. Not to mention that we're both really competitive with each other, so we're always driving each other a little bit more and more, whether it's checkers or, you know, we're playing cards or something like that. We can drive each other spiritually too. You know, like, hey, how have you been doing recently? How can we help each other out more, lift the other person's arms up? So those are definitely some of the things that we have in common right there.
Oh, that's great. Well, Sarah, I have a question for you. Have you ever dated someone before, or was Russell your first boyfriend?
I have dated somebody before. Yeah, I dated him for 3.5 years, and it was before I really knew about God, before I really had a lot of faith. It was between my high school year or my senior year in high school and into like about my junior year in college, and it was crazy because I really wanted to take control of that situation. I really wanted my will done in that, and I really didn't include God at all in that relationship. And so once I started studying the Bible and rebuilding my faith on the Word, God showed me things in our relationship, the main one being that my ex-boyfriend didn't want to seek God with his whole heart. He didn't want to have a relationship with him. And so it was just one area that I really got to build my faith by trusting God would provide for my every need, you know, whether that was dating a more spiritual man or, you know, spending some time alone with God. And he definitely blessed it, you know, making that decision to prioritize God in my life. Obviously turned out really well because now I'm getting to date my best friend and an amazing man of God who's leading me closer to him.
That's awesome. I'm so happy for you guys. Well, I do want to ask 2 more questions. The first one being, what is it like dating pre-pandemic and then now in the pandemic? Are you guys mostly doing virtual dates? How is that going?
Yeah. So we so pre-pandemic, it was really fun. We got to do a lot of interesting in-person dates where we would, one date for my birthday, Russell took us to a haunted house. I love scary things, and my birthday's in October, so it lined up perfectly. And so those kinds of dates don't happen very frequently anymore, and so I do miss that, but luckily we do have in-person dates now that we're in the same bubble, but yeah.
But it was absolutely a bit of a struggle, you know, after we hit the pandemic, because we'd been dating for about 4 months and then it hit. You know, I definitely remember our 6-month anniversary. You know, I cooked a dinner at my place. You know, it was like real fancy, you know, chicken wrapped with bacon and, you know, delicious greens on the side. I drove it over to where she was, which was only about 5 minutes away, left the food there, you know, and then went back home, you know, and it was like little things like that where it's like, man, I really wish that we could have experienced it. But I think in a different way too, it helped to put a unique growth to the relationship. Because it was almost like we were dating long distance, but we were so close to each other. So it forced us to really be able to communicate more, to be able to go to God with our feelings more in certain situations, and really build just a way that I never really thought that, you know, you'd go into. You know, I am grateful though. I'm a quality type person, you know, quality time person, that we're still able to get together now that, you know, we're in the bubble and have those special times.
Oh, I love that. So I have one last question. Russell, is Sarah the girl of your dreams?
Ooh, I love this question because when I hear it, I really think of two different things, right? When I think of the girl of your dreams, it's like something where you fantasized about for X amount of years that they'd be like this and like that. Where I would say that Sarah is more than the girl of my dreams, you know, because I always had this image of this or that, but God had really put her in my life and she exceeded those, you know, that she's my best friend, you know, and I think that that's what I really desired in a relationship. Someone that was going to push me spiritually, someone that I could at the end of the day have fun with, you know, at the end of the day confide with. And that was more than what I really thought that the world would provide. Because you look around in the relationships and what media says, and it always put me in like a sadder state, you know, of like, why is there always this conflict? And to know that this is what a godly relationship looks like, it exceeded my wildest dreams. So I'd say that she's more than what I dreamed for, you know, that she is that ideal partner.
Well, thank you so much for letting me interview you. Well, thank you for coming to Faming for God.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Are you just so excited to be on Faming for God? I'm so excited for Casey to interview us.
Casey's the best.
Hi, welcome to Faming for God. I am so excited to have you here. It's a dating episode, and you guys started dating in the pandemic. Yeah. So welcome. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you for having us. We feel honored to be here.
Oh, well, I did have some questions because you guys did start dating in the pandemic, but you knew each other before that. So can you tell me the story? How did that happen?
Absolutely. I think we obviously didn't meet before the pandemic, and we actually met when we were part of the Los Angeles church. Mm-hmm. So the first time that I noticed Alexis was at a congregational service, and I just remember that she was very extroverted. She was taking a lot of pictures and saying hi to a lot of sisters, and she was wearing a beautiful red dress with flowers on it. I think I was kind of putting in my heart a little bit to notice her because I didn't know who she was, and I just thought, like, man, that's an awesome sister. And kind of fast forward a little bit of time, we actually got to meet officially at Jay Kasi and Alicia's wedding. And I can let her share a little bit about our first interaction.
Yeah. Well, I had a roommate that spoke a little bit about him, and she mentioned him beforehand. So it kind of put in my mind already to look out for him. And then at Jay and Alicia's wedding, I actually, like, with intention, went to go say hi to him. And when we spoke, it was a very good conversation. It just, like, grabbed my attention that he was just very genuine, and he was just very confident. And also just the fact that we shared the same culture was just what attracted me as well, because I knew that I wanted someone in my, I wanted my family to be able to just relate to him as well. So that's what stood out to me and how we first met. Yeah.
Yeah, her mom was really funny too.
Oh, I love that. That's so beautiful. And you're attracted to him just because of different, friendship, all of that stuff. But then the pandemic hit. How did that change things? Were you looking for someone who's like rough and tough, ready to take on the pandemic,
Take on the world.
take on the coronavirus, or someone more cautious? How did the pandemic change that for you?
Yeah, well, I think I didn't have an expectation of him or how he was going to be in a pandemic. We both had never been in a pandemic. But during the time that we were talking, I really got to see his heart, that he was very sensitive, he was very vulnerable, and that's what I really appreciated about him. And I think it prepared us because when I moved over here, not only did we have the pandemic, but I'm also very used to the sun, and a lack of it just made me have a lot of feelings, a lot of emotions, and he was very much able to help me through scripture and through leading me to God to be okay in my feelings. So I appreciate his sensitive side.
Right. And it's also hard to move, to a different church the first time. And this was my second time when I came to Chicago, so I was able to help her how to adjust quickly and make sure that her emotions are being taken care of, because it's a rash transition when you come to a different church. So I was able to help her with my experience. And I think she did an incredible job. She overcome a lot. She misses the sun, but spring is in the air, so we'll be able to see the sun pretty soon.
Oh, that is so true. I am looking forward to that. So Gerardo, I actually have a question for you. What is it about Alexis that makes you want to change for her?
That's an awesome question. I think for me, in my personal experience, it's not so much something that I can see in her or something that she offers me, but it's so much more the responsibility behind it. Because I understand that dating is an awesome part of the kingdom, but it also comes with a responsibility. There's a weight behind it. And for me, it's if I'm not staying close to God, if I'm not staying spiritual, if I'm not getting enough advice, I notice that it actually hurts her a lot. So my responsibility is that it makes me want to change and be a better man to protect her and take care of her, make sure that she's taken care of. And this is the driving force behind me wanting to be a better man to protect her for God.
That is so great. Do you feel protected?
I do.
Oh, I'm glad. Well, thank you for joining us. I'm so happy. I love you both so much. I'm so excited to watch your dating relationship just blossom and grow.
Thank you, Casey.
Thank you. I love you.
Access to love, we gotta be strong. This is a time in your life to raise up. Say no to regrets before the day's up. Refresh and suppress and say to wake up. Use all of your gifts and leave the makeup. Shine like a diamond, glow and refine. Wanna be useful? This is your time. What are your gifts? There's no time to hide. Treasure your beauty, God made you prime. You are His glorious, monumental lady of the year. Where's your faith? There's no time to fear. You have the light, God brought you here.